again, and welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And as if you have not heard the news, as you can see by the scroll, the great Ozzy Osbourne has left the planet. He is gone. He's dead at the age of 76. Ozzy Osbourne dead at the age of 76. This was another part of my youth that is gone. I've seen Ozzy. I saw Ozzy and Black Sabbath together many, many times. And many people are saying that he pioneered heavy metal music. No, he and Tony Iommi invented heavy metal music. They invented hard rock. They are I don't want to say grandfathers. They are I guess grandfathers is probably right, of hard rock and metal. When the Beatles were wearing suits, when the Rolling Stones were wearing, flashy clothes, Black Sabbath came out in leather and black, heavy riffs, the greatest riffs in music, in rock music, I should say. And the iconic voice that was Ozzy Osbourne. He was, in his youth, he was tremendous. With Black Sabbath, he earned the nickname the Prince of Darkness. And as of right now, there is no cause of death has been given, but I'm guessing he succumbed to the Parkinson's disease that he suffered from for a few years now, since 2019. A statement from the Osbourne family goes, and I quote, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask for everyone to respect our family privacy at this time." And of course, we will do that. Hopefully the media does. Now, Ozzy's death comes weeks after the iconic Goodbye that he played in Birmingham, an all-day extravaganza called Back to the Beginning in Villa Park, his hometown, of course. The concert saw the singer perform both as a solo act and then, of course, with the band members, Geezer Butler, Billy Ward, and Tony Iommi. It was a tremendous show. I covered it here. You had everybody who was worth seeing on there: Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Anthrax, Slayer. We talked about the supergroups. It was a tremendous goodbye, and Ozzy did it his way. I mean, I'm guessing that the family knew that his time was close, and that's why they wanted to have this special goodbye for all of his fans who loved him and who admired him most. And it worked out perfectly. Now, of course, there have been rumors over the last couple of weeks that he was in Switzerland and he was looking to, how should I say, take his own life. None of that has been confirmed, or none of that has been proven. Of course, that would be his choice. Of course, I wouldn't agree with that, but it would be his choice. But Ozzy was not just a great singer and a great showman. From what I've heard from so many people that ran into him, and I was in the television radio business for a little bit, he was the sweetest, nicest guy you'll ever meet. I mean, you couldn't understand him when he talked most of the time. He was, but he was supposedly, you wouldn't even think he sold 100 million records. Now, of course, Black Sabbath, he co-founded Black Sabbath with, let's go back to the beginning. He was born John Michael Osbourne. He rose to fame in the metal band Black Sabbath, which he co-founded in 1968. They released the iconic songs like Paranoid, Iron Man, Sweet Leaf, Supernaut, War Pigs, Sabracadabra. I mean, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And they were they were so influential that they brought so many young musicians. They influenced so many young musicians with the heavy guitar riffs and the heavy drum beats and the wonderful playing of bass by Geezer Butler, that they influenced bands like Slayer and Metallica and Anthrax and Megadeth later on when Dave Mustaine left Metallica. Of course, in 1979, because of Ozzy's addictions and demons, the band kicked him out, and Osbourne launched a successful solo career beginning in the 1980s with the Blizzard of Oz, and that was a marriage with another iconic guitar player who left us too soon. His name was Randy Rhoads, and the track on that album was called Crazy Train, and everybody knows that one. Ozzy became widely known for his onstage persona, for all the crazy antics that he did behind the stage, licking ants off of ice cream sticks, and just a craziness that he was. Of course, he is also infamously famous for biting the head off of a bat during a 1982 concert. I remember him telling a story on I forget what radio station it was. I think it was with Eddie Trunk, that he had to get rabies shots after that happened. He released 13 studio albums and was inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and in 2006 with Black Sabbath, and again in 2024 as a solo artist. His collaboration with Randy Rhoads is something to behold, because he had a resurrection as an artist, as a solo artist, that he left behind Black Sabbath, which back in those days probably people didn't think was possible because he was so out of control. But he met a genius. He was so lucky in his life. I don't want to say lucky, but he was fortunate in his life to have met two genius guitar players, Iommi and Randy Rhoads. And Ozzy, of course, I had seen Ozzy a bunch of times. I think the first time I saw him was 95, 96. I think he had Zakk Wylde with him then. I might be wrong, but he had Jackie Lee. He had so many people. I went to a concert once in Madison Square Garden, and he had a guest guitarist named Steve Vai. Of course, we all know him. And to hear Steve Vai play some of those iconic songs, especially Iron Man and Mr. Crowley, was just, it was fucking phenomenal. He would rejoin Black Sabbath, of course, later on, and they would have a great tour. I went to that tour too, and they were so tight. And I tell you, at that last show, the Bringing It Back tour, the Bringing It Back show that they had at Villa Park, Ozzy, of course, looked frail, but the band, Iommi, Butler, Ward, they were tight as all hell. They were almost as tight and sharp as they were when I saw them 15, 16 years ago. These guys are up there, but Tony Iommi just can rip that guitar to shreds. And Ozzy, as I said, had demons. He would marry Sharon Osbourne in the 1980s, early 80s. And for many of you who may be watching here, who may be of the age, you may know Ozzy from outside of the music business. He was very influential on pop culture, and he became part of the reality TV world with MTV, with the MTV show called The Osbournes, which was as chaotic and hilarious of a home life as you could see, because his wife and two kids were absolutely nut jobs too. It did reveal his health struggles, the show. It did reveal his substance abuse struggles. And the show ran from, I don't know, 2001 or 2002 to 2005, somewhere along there. He announced that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which is a nerve disorder, in January of 2020, a condition that he would later tell the LA Times that he lived with since 2003. Which, to live 22 years with such a disease, I mean, we see it with what the hell is that guy's name? The guy from Family Ties. Oh, geez. But it's debilitating. It's terrible. Michael J. Fox. It's debilitating. It's terrible. But Ozzy did not let the disease stop him from being Ozzy. And he was always quoted as saying, "I'm not dying from Parkinson's. I've been working with it most of my life. I've cheated death so many times. If tomorrow you read Ozzy Osbourne never woke up this morning, you wouldn't go, oh my God." You'd go, well, it finally caught up with him. And today it finally caught up with him. And I think he went out the way he wanted to go out. He went out with a last great kick-ass show. He left a legacy behind that one can only dream of. And we're going to miss him, because I'm telling you, the way the music business is today, I don't think we'll ever see anyone like this again. He was a fantastic performer. As I said, I saw him as a solo act a bunch of times. Of course, I went to Ozfest a million times, and I saw him with Black Sabbath. And it was always a little sad to me in the 2000s, even in the late 1990s and 2000s, when I heard that he had a beef with Ronnie Dio, who was Ronnie James Dio, I should say, who I think is the greatest heavy metal singer ever. There was a bit of a beef there, and hopefully, as Ozzy passes the gates, and he is allowed to pass the gates, his persona was that of a madman, but he was, as I said, from some pretty good people that I know, a beautiful person inside. He is going to pass the gates and going back home to heaven. I hope that he finds peace. I know he's going to find peace. So we say good night to the Prince of Darkness, who passed away today at the age of 76. You will never be forgotten. Your music will live on forever. Your innovation with Tony Iommi as the inventor of heavy metal music will also go on. There are kids that are 3 years old who still do the I. And there are 51-year-old guys in the East Coast somewhere who still do air guitar and sing Sweet Leaf and Snowblind and Mr. Crowley and Mama, I'm Coming Home and all the rest. That's the influence. That's the impact you had on so many lives. And it's not a sad day today. It's a celebration of a man who took his shot and he made it. And now he's gone. And now he's gone. Thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Be careful out there, my friends. Satan is always busy. Not today. Not today. Today is all about Ozzy. Because even Satan wouldn't try to steal his thunder. Be a man, have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for, just like the great Ozzy Osbourne. We'll see you later.